Chapter 101. Stomping on the rose and slapping Wang Qinju, Bai Yuchun used her actions to tell everyone that she was not subject to bubbles. However, there was no way out for her either. Wang Qinju was furious, as a schoolyard bully, his pride and face were hurt, then he had to retaliate in a rough way, and his family had a lot of money to set him right anyway. Of course, he is very smart and experienced, he will not do, like a certain boy in a foreign language school in Changping in X016, forcing a girl of his choice in the classroom and then killing her, and then getting into trouble, that kind of low-level operation. He wants to find face in public, then ambush in secret, find the right opportunity to pull Bai Yuchun into the park outside the school grove, then enjoy the first time, and then locked up, depth charges, eel start and finish, Russian roulette, boudoir sausage, all come again. When she's tired of playing with the various tools, she takes a video and threatens to give it to her little brother to enjoy. When she's done, she'll find someone to post all her videos on the internet, so that the whole school can see how this woman, who has been pretending to be innocent all day, really looks when she takes off her clothes. Wang Qinju licked his lips and thought with the greatest malice in his heart, "Offend me, Wang Qinju, and I will play with you slowly. I will make you understand what it means to be worse than death." Wang Qinju stared at Bai Yuchun, who looked like a frightened white rabbit, and saw that she was about to be caught. "I don't know who," suddenly shouted, "Look, who is that?" The crowd looked over at the voice and saw a young man on a beat-up old electric bike, wearing a hungry blue lab coat and a helmet, speeding along. Everywhere he passed, everyone dodged for fear of being hit. "Who is it? Wow, that's fast. Who ordered takeaway? Shit, this battery-operated car is going at least 60 yards. Hungry nowadays is really excessive, actually secretly transforming the battery car, or the regular one from Meituan. Isn't that man Qin Ming?" Qin Ming expected that in the end he would still have to step in, so he got the little guy who delivered outside to buy his battery car. He didn't think much of it, he just rushed in to save the day. There was along if something went wrong. A veteran soldier king with a monthly salary of 300,000 must not let him work properly. The place where Qin Ming rushed across was a high step. If he flew straight down, which was more than a meter, the car must not fall apart for fear. But he just rushed down, whistling in a flash. Qin Ming turned into a whirlwind. Everyone was stunned as they watched the helmeted Qin Ming fly through mid-air, coming to Bai Yuchun's rescue. Nai Haitang's beautiful eyes shrank, originally disheveled and resting on her chin. After seeing Qin Ming's figure, she felt very familiar and immediately got up and patted her feet in an effort to look around, hating to see her eyesight improve from 1.5 to 2.0 to see the hungry rider clearly. Because, what she had imagined in her mind, actually became a reality. A romance that was unfolding right in front of her. And here in the small garden, Bai Yuchun also tilted her head in surprise. She was close enough to see very clearly the clothes that Qin Ming normally wore. He had come. She was very touched inside. Qin Ming had never let her down, he was her lucky star. Bai Yuchun felt that Qin Ming on his electric bike was very handsome, like a knight who had come to save her, a poor and helpless poor woman, as if from a fairy tale. Ah! Wang Qinju let out a fearful scream as the battery car sped down just in front of him. Ah! What a coincidence, the wheels of the battery car pressed right against the door of Wang Qinju's face. With a loud bang, Wang Qinju was crushed to the ground by Qin Ming with the battery truck, and his whole face was covered with wheel marks and dirt. With a snort, Qin Ming forced the brakes and turned back towards Bai Yuchun with a wave, saying, "Get in." Bai Yuchun was so excited that tears filled her eyes. She reached over and took Qin Ming's rough and strong palm, jumping onto the back seat at once and hugging Qin Ming's waist in a smooth manner. And Qin Ming looked at a junction and dashed across. Qin Ming chose that direction not because it was full of passers-by, but because Along was there, and if anyone obstructed him, Along would step in and make sure he got through unhindered. Qin Ming rode very smoothly through the small garden he had escaped from on his electric bike and ran up the wide school road. The modified battery bike was fast, reaching a maximum of 70 yards. What a crime! But this was just convenient for Qin Ming to leave quickly, leaving only a blue shadow of him at the scene. Ho! If love has a color, it must be blue. Roar! It was unknown which middle-aged youth yelled out, and those students who had long been unhappy with Wang Qinzhu's rampage around the campus let out a cheer. Hungry! Hungry! Most of them took the one who snatched Bai Yuchun as a hungry delivery man, and at the same time cheering hungry was also a way to mock Wang Chenghu, the campus villain. Suddenly someone shouted, "Brother, don't go first, hungry to give you how much salary, I might win open double." Qin Ming in the distance back a monthly salary of 998, take me home. Ha 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 ha. The louder that laughter was, the more Wang Qinzhu was disgraced, the hearts of the people, when unlucky, only then would he know what it was like to have the wall fall on him. He was humiliated and lying on the ground, unable to stand up. After this day, this touching fairy tale was spread all over the campus network of China University of Technology. At the same time, the campus bully Wang Qinzhu was beaten up when he failed to pick up a girl, and was finally snatched away by a delivery boy, making him a laughing stock for the rest of the day. The man in question, Qin Ming, had already driven Bai Yuchun to the less crowded Weiming Lake in the university city. He took out 2 boxed lunches from his front basket and said with a smile, "It's just about noon, you haven't eaten yet, have you? Come, eat before you go." At the edge of the Weiming Lake, Bai Yuchun came here again. She looked at Qin Ming, tears streaming down her face. She knew him from here. Qin Ming had waited for her to leave her part-time job every day for a week, eaten fried chicken that was about to go bad together, listened to her talk about her troubles here, and got her first smartphone in her life here. And here she was again today, saved by him. She never thought that in her miserable fate, such a Qin Ming would appear again, caring for her, treating her well, not minding that she was poor, not minding that she would lose face standing together in her rustic clothes, and not having any intentions towards her. She felt that she must have died for her country in her last life for her country to send Qin Ming to save her in this life. Oh! Bai Yuchun cried with joy as she held the box of rice Qin Ming brought over to her, her tears flowing as if they didn't want money, all falling into the rice. Qin Ming froze for a moment. At this time Bai Yuchun was very strange, crying and laughing at the same time. He had never seen a woman who could even cry so beautifully. Qin Ming asked, "What's wrong? Did you get hurt just now? Let me take a look." Bai Yuchun shook her head. Her box of rice was fish-scented aubergine. She took a big mouthful of rice, swallowed all her tears and rice. She said, "I'm fine, I'm not hurt, I'm too happy." It turns out that it's not just when you can't stand being bullied that you cry, people cry when they're happy too. Qin Ming smiled sarcastically, "That's right, ordinary people can't experience such emotions. Is this fast food good?" Bai Yuchun chewed the rice with her mouthful and said, "Yes. This is the best fish-scented aubergine I've ever eaten." Many years later, Bai Yuchun, who had eaten all the delicacies of the sea, would always eat a bowl of fish-scented eggplant rice at a common restaurant, and people around her asked her, "With your status, what can't you eat? Why do you want to eat such ordinary food? Is it because she misses her origins?" Bai Yuchun would always smile happily and respond, "Because of love." Chapter 102. Qin Ming is infinitely good, he just loves Haitang. Bai Yuchun finished her box of rice, not a single grain of rice left. She looked at Qin Ming, who had gone to throw away the rubbish, and became more and more agitated inside. She felt that she had fallen in love with the man in front of her. But she knew that she could not be a mistress. She knew very well who Qin Ming liked, Nai Haitang, a sophomore in the business school. That beautiful, generous, and gentle girl, she had looked at from afar, the princess surrounded by all, not from the same world as a poor girl like her. Bai Yuchun felt that there was no way she could win over Nai Haitang. Qin Ming threw away his lunchbox and walked back, asking, "How's that?" "Calmed down, right?" Bai Yuchun nodded blushingly and said, "Well, I'm fine now." "Thank you Qin Ming, you saved me again." Qin Ming laughed, "It's nothing, we're friends. Friends should help each other. Next time someone you don't like confesses their love to you, you should just reject it, that would save you a lot of trouble." Bai Yuchun, however, was worried again, that Wang Cheng, who seems to be a bit overbearing and very cruel, he was in the police station last year for fighting, after he came out, although he has been restrained, but no one dares to mess with him in school. I am afraid that he will retaliate against you. When he was working part-time as a delivery boy, he went to his dormitory and saw him bullying his classmates. Qin Ming gave Along a call and said, "Along, how is the scene?" Along responded, "The scene has dispersed, but young master, the guy you ran over with the wheel seems to be very angry and is looking for connections to dig you out, young master. In my opinion, he needs to be taught a lesson before he will be honest." Qin Ming thought about it and said, "It's not good to cause trouble within the school, and I don't want to disgrace my alma mater. How about this, you find a few smart people to secretly protect Bai Yuchun. Let's see how that Wang Chenju pops up first." "Let's." Qin Ming walked back and said, "Don't worry about it, you don't have to worry about Wang Chenju, no one will know who I am with my helmet on. Moreover, I will react to the school leader about this matter. If he is brutal, there will be a school leader to control him, and if he disobeys the discipline again, he can call the police." Bai Yuchun nodded. She knew that both of them were ordinary families, without much to fall back on, they could only rely on the justice of the society. However, Qin Ming had something to hide. It was true that the justice of society could be relied on, but very often, justice would be late, and there would always be people who broke the law and committed crimes before they were sanctioned. He could not let this happen to his own Bai Yuchun. Because he was the heir to the richest man in the world, he had the power to do so. Qin Ming took out another set of keys and said, "This is the key to the Green Island neighborhood near the University City, a building with room 202, which I rented. The landlord is still doing renovations at the moment, but the sleeping quarters have been cleaned up and the formaldehyde treatment has been done. You let your mum stay the night for now." "Huh." Bai Yuchun looked at the key and was inwardly moved. Qin Ming was too good to her, so good that she was like a family member. She felt like she had nothing to repay except to give her body to him. But she knew Qin Ming had someone he liked. Qin Ming shoved the key in as soon as he could and said, "Don't take it. But I have one request, only you and your mother are allowed to live there. If your brother and sister-in-law shamelessly rub in, you can call security to kick them out." Qin Ming didn't give her a chance to refuse and said, "You go about your business, I have to go to the library too." Bai Yuchun couldn't refuse if she wanted to, silently holding the key in her heart, and also silently hiding a piece of emotion in her heart. Qin Ming rode the battery car, throwing it to the side of the school's car park, casually throwing it away, which to be found by Wang Chenju's people, trouble enough, simply do not want it. He took off his take-away blue coat and came to the library, where he was still blacklisted because of Chen Mulin's relationship. But he used Zhao Liniu's card to get in, so no one cared about him. Drip drip drip, his phone vibrated, and Qin Ming was surprised to find that it was a message from Nai Haitang. In fact, Qin Ming wanted very much to contact Nai Haitang, but thought that she had just suffered a kidnapping and she had suddenly run away last night, so she was a bit vain. For a while, he didn't think of any good explanation, but he was afraid that if he told the truth, it would make things worse, so he was torn. If one day I'm forced to marry by someone I don't like, will you break through the crowd and come and take me away amidst all the surprise? Looking at the content of the message, Qin Ming's head tilted. What was this doing? Qin Ming replied back, not only will I take you away, I will also beat up the guy who forced the marriage. At this moment, on the badminton court, Nai Haitang held her phone for a giggle. Jiang Qingqing looked at her best friend sulking all morning and then suddenly regained her good mood, simply unable to understand. If Zhao Tuo had dared to treat her like this, she would have dumped the man straight away yet. Nai Haitang asked with concern again, is your friend all right last night? Qin Ming didn't lie and said directly, she's fine, she's very poor, her brother and sister-in-law kicked her mother out of the house, I helped get a hotel to settle in. Nai Haitang curled her little fingers in her hair, a little jealous in her heart. What kind of girl could make Qin Ming treat her so well? She inexplicably felt a bit of a crisis. Nai Haitang added, I came to the library to look for you, let's go to dinner tonight. Qin Ming thought for a moment and said, no, I can't. I'm going out later, I have an important dinner. TCH. Nai Haitang had just gotten up to leave when she saw this message, her expression instantly darkened, she puffed out her mouth in exasperation and put away her phone, her mood becoming low again. Jiang Qingqing by the badminton court saw her best friend, suddenly going from excited to sullen again, she really even rolled her eyes. She was so annoyed in her heart. Tisk, is it really true that women don't love men if they're not bad? I don't get it. What's wrong with my Haitang? Beautiful, rich, white, and beautiful, Qin Ming, a slag, has to queue up to be a licking dog. Now I can't believe he has Haitang so attached to him. No, he has to be fixed properly. Bullying my good bestie, looking for death. Jiang Qingqing angrily sent a message to Qin Ming, you dead slag, you wait for me. Qin Ming in the library looked at the president's nonsensical message, what was wrong with him, he hadn't done anything wrong to Nai Haitang? What's wrong with him? At dusk, Qin Ming came out of the library. The three dormitory brothers greeted him and took him to Manfulu for dinner, along with Chen Mulan and other beautiful women from the business school. Qin Ming knows the kindness of his brothers, but Chen Mulan really doesn't suit him, so he excuses himself on the grounds of work. And in fact he really had to work. The Rolls-Royce was already parked outside the campus, and when Qin Ming got in, Song Ying handed over his tablet and said, young master, for this dinner, I took it upon myself to prepare the dinner with Asian regional treatment. Apart from Qi Yundong and his wife, there are also his 2 sons and daughter, and a secretary, and their information is all here. The so-called Asian regional level treatment is the treatment of the presidents of all the industries of the Huanyu Century Group in Asia, and the dinners are all of a high standard, with a meal not going below $500,000. Qi Yundong was only the group leader of the domestic South China region, and this was 2 levels of treatment hospitality in a row. One is to reflect the recognition of Qi Yundong for putting out the fire this time, and the other is to value him, after all, he is an old man who has followed Chang Hongzhi for many years. Qin Ming was satisfied that Song Ying had made it so. Song Ying was also a manager, and I am afraid that he had learned to manage people even better than he did. However, Qin Ming's books were not read for nothing, he understood the truth of buying people's hearts. The key is to catch what subordinates want in their hearts, what they want to get, so that subordinates are satisfied, so that subordinates are grateful, so that subordinates are in awe. At this time, in the villa area at the top of Cloud Mountain, an ordinary domestic Guanqi slowly drove to the highest and most luxurious villa estate. A pretty black long-dressed beauty got out and complained, "Dad, why rent a car to come here? This domestic car is a big step down from your status, and we have the whole family in one car. What's the need for such a low profile? You're an old subordinate of Chang Lao for many years, and you've never been so careful to see him." Qi Yundong chided, "What do you, a woman, know? This is a critical time, if we let the young master's identity be exposed, the whole family will wait to be buried with him. Qi Yundong's family members listened one by one, their faces turning blue, not daring to say any more. The family stood behind Qi Yundong for a while before his wife asked curiously, "Honey, aren't you going in? Or should I ask Ah Sun to knock on the door?" Qi Yundong shook his head and said, "Wait." Chapter 103. Although it is said that the daylight hours are long in summer, Qi Yundong's family has been waiting for almost an hour and they are still waiting. His wife Wang Jian has followed him for many years and understands that the Huanyu Century Group is a world-class behemoth with intricate power inside, and the slightest mistake would require an assassination squad to come and vaporize the world. But she also felt for her child and couldn't help but say, "We've arrived, the bodyguards outside know it and so should the people inside. Look, the kitchen fumes are wafting out, why don't you let us in? Look at you working for him day and night, managing the company, coming to see him for a while and having to wait at the door. The child suffers along with you." Qi Yundong said indifferently, "Stupid. Ah Sun, why do you think I waited?" The eldest son, Qi Mingsun, smiled faintly, "Mum, it's only been an hour. No, we're not afraid to wait. The young master is the heir handpicked by Elder Chang and will be our ultimate big boss in the future. The fact that he is willing to receive his family is in itself a sign of the importance he attaches to us. Especially this time Ming Hui is also here, this is Ming Hui's chance. Not to mention waiting for just an hour, it's worth waiting for half a day." Qi Mingsun looked to a cold and rigid man next to him, his younger brother, Qi Minghui. Qi Yundong nodded secretly, approving of his eldest son's analysis. Also Qi Mingsun was very clear about the position of their Qi family in front of Qin Ming, so he was at ease, not worried about his son making any mistakes in the future. However, his daughter Qi Miao Miao was very unhappy and complained with a pout, "I think he is playing the young master's temper and wants to give dad and big brother a hard time. Tisk, Mum and I are suffering along with him." Qi Yundong scolded, "Shut up and don't say a word when you see the young master later, if you say anything wrong I'll just slap you." Qi Miao Miao was reprimanded by her dad again. She was in an extremely bad mood. She felt that the young master she had never met was at the manor, watching them laugh. It was so vicious and abominable. Qi Yundong sighed and pointed to a light bulb by the fence, saying, "See that light bulb?" Wang Qian nodded her head and said, "What's wrong with the rotten light bulb? They didn't order someone to change it either." Qi Yundong shook his head and said, "Ah Qian, you know Xian Yuan Wu too, right? We are all old people who have followed Elder Chang in his fight together. Although there are rules that our team leader who is in charge of commerce cannot have too much interaction with Xian Yuan Wu and the others. But he and I are old friends after all. He revealed it to me. The young master used some kind of method to shock those lawless teams." Both Qi Mingsun and Qi Minghui's expressions changed, very much expecting their dad to spill the beans on this matter. Qi Miao Miao, on the other hand, leaned against the car and played with her mobile phone. Qi Yundong said, "The young master is a ruthless man." At that time, Xian Yuan Wu and the others were afraid of being replaced, so they gave the young master a downward spiral to facilitate the negotiation of terms. But the young master solved all the dao that was drawn against Xian Yuan Wu and the others, and won. In the end, he competed with Money Leopard, that reckless man, in a Russian roulette pistol fight for guts. The three mothers and sons heard this Russian roulette, that wasn't the kind of game played with a group of young models in a certain rich club, but the kind that would kill people. "How did it end up?" Qi Mingsun asked, even though reason told him that in the end it must have been Qin Ming who won, otherwise there would be no more of this meal today. Qi Yundong said, "When there were 2 bullets left in the end, Money Leopard and Xian Yuan Wu and the others were all convinced, and they all knelt down and begged young master not to gamble any further. But the young master still fired the 5th shot, which was still empty. And the 6th shot was bound to kill Money Leopard." Wang Qian and Qi Mingsun and Qi Minghui's faces were horrified, that kind of person who plays with his life can be really ruthless. Wang Qian asked, "What does this have to do with that rotten light bulb?" Qi Yundong, as if he was there at the scene, couldn't help but sigh, saying, "In the end, the young master didn't give the gun to Money Leopard, but shot that lamp. It sort of spared Money Leopard's life. Secretary Song should have deliberately not let anyone fix it, to warn those who dare to neglect the young master." Qi Miao Miao said disdainfully, bragging, "It's not that godly. There must be something odd about the gun." Qi Yundong shook his head and said, "The gun used Qian Yuanwu and the others, how could it have been odd?" After finishing the story, Qi Yundong saw that his family members all looked serious and very scared, thinking that the people he would meet later would not get along well. Qi Yundong smiled again and said soothingly, "You guys don't need to be too nervous, that's another side of the young master. The usual young master is actually very nice to get along with. The last time we met at Nanshan Manor he was still very approachable, and he can also drink very well." As soon as the words left his mouth, a stretch Rolls-Royce drove up, with 3 other Big Ben escorts in front and behind. Song Ying opened the door and got down, looked at Qi Yundong the same, and lowered her body and said to Qin Ming inside the car, "Young master, the family of team leader Qi has arrived. There are no bodyguards with them." Qin Ming answered and put down the information to look up, just in time to see Song Ying bowing towards him. The collar of her professional dress seemed to be unable to bear the weight of her chest, slightly open, and even more so because of the downward bow, resulting in the exposure of half of her snow-white flesh, and the gully made by the squeeze of the plump flesh. This is really boss welfare. No wonder many female white-collar workers usually like to bow to their bosses. Nima, which boss can still stand to see this every day? Fortunately, Qin Ming is still studying and does not have to look at this every day, otherwise he really could not stand it. When Qin Ming came down and saw Qi Yundong, he walked up, shook hands warmly and said, "Uncle Qi, didn't I say 7 o'clock? Why are you here so early?" Seeing that Qin Ming had only just arrived, Qi Yundong and his party realized that Qin Ming was not inside the villa, and the initial misunderstanding that Qin Ming was hanging them out to dry dissipated, and some of the discomfort in someone's heart disappeared. The masters were all away, there was no neglect. At the same time they were all surprised that Qin Ming was very young, no more than 20 years old, the same age as Qi Miao Miao who was on the side. They were all surprised to see that such a person was the future heir to the Universe Century Group and would become a figure of influence. They had thought that the young master should be at least in his 30s, mature and stable and at the same time very dominant. The first time I saw him, I felt that Qin Ming was a bit of a college student, but his temperament was still a bit down to earth, but his eyes were long and narrow and rounded, looking very sharp, and it made Qin Ming's whole temperament go up a notch. A strange kind of pressure emanated so naturally that they looked at Qin Ming with an impression of looking ordinary at first glance, but feeling extraordinary on closer inspection. Qi Yundong smiled and said, "The young master said 7 o'clock, then I must be waiting at 6. After saying that, Qi Yundong introduced his family members one by one, his wife Wang Qian, his eldest son Qi Mingxuan, his second son Qi Minghui and his third daughter Qi Miao Miao. The secretary was driven here separately and was not qualified to face the head. Among them, the eldest son, Qi Mingxuan, is also the head of business in Dongshan province, and is in charge of the development of many rare metal deposits and the transportation and logistics of the whole Dongshan province, as well as many pharmaceutical and investment companies. Of course, these are all assets of the Huanyu Century Group, and Qi Mingxuan is a subordinate of Qin Ming. Qi Mingxuan did not state his identity directly. These were all the information Qin Ming had checked when he arrived, and he now had to gradually get in touch with the business leaders over in northern and western China. Qin Ming also greeted them one by one, and then invited Qi Yundong's family into the villa. Along walked behind, looking at the Qi family, and looked up to have a glance with Qi Minghui. Both of them frowned at the same time, feeling that they were not on the same page and could not talk. Wang Qian pulled Qi Yundong and said, "Husband, I think today, in addition to helping our son to say something about affairs, we also have to say something for our daughter." Qi Yundong said curiously, "Say what?" "Tisk." Wang Qian glared at her man with great displeasure and said, "You're stupid, you don't even understand this. Talk about a girlfriend." Chapter 104. When Qi Yundong heard this, Wang Qian actually wanted to introduce her daughter to Qin Ming as his girlfriend. Wasn't this nonsense? He still remembered when he was at the Nanshan Manor Resort, he had found 3 beautiful women with the right figure, looks and youth to give to Qin Ming, but Qin Ming had taken away just some leftover fruits on the table. From that moment on, Qi Yundong knew that Qin Ming was not a lustful man. The last time he met him, he introduced a beautiful woman to him, but this time he introduced his own daughter to him. Where could he put his old face, Qi Yundong? The toilet? He scolded his wife in a low voice and told her not to make a fool of herself. When the Qi family went inside, they looked at the opulent villa and all revealed their envy. What made the villa so aristocratic was not just the lavish decoration and an orchestra to accompany it, but the various extravagant accessories that adorned it and the famous collection of relics. Van Gogh's famous paintings, Tibetan beads adorned with corpse wall statues, antique porcelain from the Ming and Qing dynasties, a large pendulum clock from the European imperial collection, each item is worth a great deal of money, and all are maintained as new. The cheapest would be a set of silver cutlery, a level of luxury comparable to that of the Palace Royal family. In a few moments, the kitchen had already prepared the dishes, all of which were Chinese, with a variety of sea and mountain delicacies. The chef even came out to have a few words with the group, and when asked, he had cooked for the leaders of Beijing a year ago. Qi Yundong and Qi Mingsun are from the Huanyu Century Group, and they have seen this kind of scene before. This is a very high-standard dinner party, reflecting the importance Qin Ming attaches to them, and possibly hinting at Qi Yundong's future status for promotion in the workplace. People dining in such an extremely high-class and high-spec environment was very good for their temperament, and even Qi Miao Miao, who complained a lot at first, was docile and inexplicably took a liking to Qin Ming. Qi Yundong was very happy because he felt the importance Qin Ming attached to him. He had been an old man for many years and had contributed a lot to the management of so many enterprises for the Huanyu Century Group, and now it was Qin Ming's turn to take over from Chang Hongzhi, who was the second oldest of the dynasties. If he is reappointed, then it is possible that he will be able to take a step up in the future. The meal went smoothly, with music played on the guhan and strings next to a dedicated person serving next to him. As the boss, Qin Ming didn't need to be much of a conversationalist, but Qi Yundong was very good at finding things to talk about, and when Qin Ming said something, he was able to pat himself on the back, and at the same time, he was very good at reading the situation and watching what he was saying, so when Qin Ming was about to say something, he would shut up. Qi Yundong was a good drinker, but Qin Ming wasn't too bad either, and the two of them soon drank a bottle of white wine. Qin Ming was a little bit drunk, so he put his arm around Qi Yundong's shoulders and said, "Uncle Qi, this time I'm temporarily transferring Ho Qing, so I'll have to rely on you for such a big business, as well as my contacts in Guangcheng. I believe in Uncle Qi's ability, so go ahead and do it with confidence and boldness. Guang City is a first-tier city and a big piece of fat meat. Don't look at Ho Qing is only the head of a city, team leader, but there is a lot of power and oil inside, especially dealing with the government or the provincial party committee compound. The businessmen who befriend Ho Qing are very powerful, usually send a lot of gifts. Although he is in charge of the entire South China region, Qi Yundong is mostly responsible for important resources and affairs, and the overall requirement is the stability of business in South China, and will not intervene in detailed matters, so the oil and water is not as much as Ho Qing. They are businessmen, not officials, and do not have any hard official specifications, so Ho Qing's family is actually more luxurious than Qi Yundong. Although Qi Yundong did not know why Ho Qing was suddenly transferred, he felt that this was an opportunity to arrange for his second son, Qi Minghui, to come over so that he could wait for an opportunity to replace Ho Qing. He said, "Young master, I followed Chang's career in the world. The reform and opening up of the world was not long ago, and there were many business opportunities everywhere, so Chang joined the Huanyu Century Group by chance and was responsible for developing the whole Asian market. This era should still be left to young people like you, young master." Qin Ming laughed and said, "Uncle Qi, you are old and strong, you can still work for at least another 20 to 30 years, ha ha ha. Even if you quit, your two sons must still be your pride." Seeing his chance, Qi Yundong said, "It's Mingsun's luck that he can work for the young master. In ordinary companies, even if one has reached the position of big boss and is worth over $1 billion, that is not as high and powerful as a municipal team leader inside our Huanyu, who earns more. Naturally, I am not worried about him. How much he will be able to achieve in the future, all depends on you, young master, to bring him up." Qin Ming smiled and toasted another glass of wine. He could hear that Qi Yundong was giving his son a good talking to. Qi Yundong pointed at Qi Minghui and said, "I am worried about my second son, Qi Minghui. He has graduated from Yale University for several years. He spends all day muddling through and has set up several companies. Although he is earning some money, the pressure is great, but not as much as his brother earns in a month." Qin Ming has seen Qi Minghui's information, Country Yale University senior student, that can be Ivy League members. Domestic is not so easy to apply for, must be a superior level of knowledge and relationship. Yale University is a world-class university in every respect, and the fact that he graduated from it is a testament to Qi Minghui's level. Qi Minghui has founded internet companies and financial investment companies, and has pulled in many investments, and has also made a good deal of money, none of which has been lost, so he is a pretty strong talent. But it is really not as much as what Qi Mingsun earns in a month. Qi Mingsun, as the head of business in Dongshan province of the Huanyu Group, earns a fixed salary and a percentage of the profits of each company under his management. The two brothers also became rivals because of their financial investments together. As a result, the elder brother Qi Mingsun's words made Qi Minghui's company lose the bid, which was all due to the influence of the Huanyu Century Group. Qin Ming smiled. He was not stupid either. Ho Qing was transferred away by Qin Ming in the front foot. Qi Yundong came over non-stop to send someone. His purpose is self-evident. The fact that Ho Qing was doing a good job made Qin Ming very satisfied. He could not chill the hearts of his subordinates, and the position of head of the Guangcheng team still had to be reserved for Ho Qing. But he also had to get Qi Yundong to accept his arrangement so that he would not have a problem with it. Of course, Qin Ming also wanted this Qi Minghui, if he really had the strength and used it for him. As the saying goes, once a king, always a minister. The future Huanyu Century Group will definitely be a situation where he, Qin Ming, speaks and everyone listens. Qin Ming thought about it and tapped his head. "Just in time, I have a matter here. Nai Zhengming of the Nai family has been a bit arrogant recently and has upset me. I have 11% of Nai's bathroom group in my hand, and Yang He Group has already acquired 41%, only 7% less than the Nai family. Ask Qi Minghui to toss the Nai family and have Nai Zhengming come to me to apologize. See how well he does. Uncle Qi, how's that?" Qi Minghui, who had been silent, put down the chopsticks in his hands, his cold face showing disdain. But Qi Yundong, on the other hand, was acting quite grave. Chapter 105. What's going on here? Let me teach someone a lesson? I'm a senior at Yale, and I've been solicited by many people on Wall Street in M. I'm not even going. If it wasn't for you, Dad, I'm afraid I would have already made a name for myself on Wall Street. Inside the TransAsia car, Qi Minghui was a bit resentful. he felt that he had been underutilized by Qin Ming. The dinner party had already passed, and Qin Ming gave Qin Minghui a task to test his ability before deciding whether to appoint him directly. Because most of the personnel appointments in Huanyu Century Group are made from the grassroots level, direct parachuting is either a matter of the upper echelons opening a golden mouth or having connections. Qin Ming asked Qi Minghui to be the acting team leader in Guangzhou City. That is impossible, let's try out his strength first. Inside the car, Qi Minghui said, to teach a lesson to the dude young master of the luxury family, is this not nonsense? Qi Minghui smiled and said, maybe our young master and the young master of the Nai family are fighting over a certain woman and are jealous, but they can't fight, so they are looking for you to take it out for him. It's very simple, isn't it? It's easy to get it done, and the position of head of the Guangcheng team will belong to you, isn't it beautiful? Wang Qian said happily, so the young master has agreed to our request? He's really good at talking. While both women looked happier, Qi Minghui noticed that his father and brother had a different, more silent attitude. He asked, Dad, is there still something fishy going on here? Qi Yundong glanced at Qi Mingsun on the passenger side and said, Mingsun, you should have thought of it, right? You explain it? Qi Mingsun sighed and said, this matter, it's very dangerous and troublesome. It's a good thing we're here, otherwise if we let you do it alone, Minghui, you'll definitely make a big mistake and get into trouble. How so? The three in the back seat asked curiously. Qi Mingsun explained, this isn't some dude young master's jealousy fight. Do you understand the Nai family's situation? Qi Minghui frowned and said, the newest gentry in Guang City, Nai's bathroom group is a listed company, doing quite a big business and is currently diversifying. What's going on? Big brother Qi Mingsun shook his head and said, you haven't done enough homework, so why are you complaining here? When the Nai family's business was in crisis before, it was the young master who ordered Ho Qing to come to their aid. Later on, the Nai family's daughter was kidnapped but was instantly saved. Those kidnappers were the youngest master's men, Chang Huan, and in the end only one person survived to go back, and news came from the countryside that those mercenaries had kidnapped the person on the first foot and were all arrested on the second, and not even the young master's face was seen. Qi Miao Miao bristled and said, what does this prove? Young Master Qin, he's a great tactician. With a sudden shock, Qi Minghui slapped his thighs and said, I understand. The young master is in the middle of a storm, and the Nai family is the springboard for those people to find the young master, which is why Ho Qing was transferred away by the young master. The young master's aim in finding trouble with Nai Zhengming was not really to find trouble with him, but to clear the air so that those people would no longer pay attention to the Nai family, thus depriving those who coveted his succession position of a springboard to find the young master. This is a matter of great importance to the young master's safety. Qi Yundong smiled gratefully, not bad, Minghui, you can see that. Don't think of the young master as boring. Young master is under a lot of pressure right now. Qi Minghui added, so I had to do it in a way that would suppress the Nai family to clear their ties and deprive those in of a springboard to find the young master, while at the same time not exposing the young master's identity and still letting Nai Zhengming know who to go to for an apology. Tisk. This can be difficult. If Nai Zhengming can't remember, then wouldn't I be tossing and turning for nothing? Qi Yundong laughed and said, if it was so easy to handle, would the young master still let you do it? A business as big as Guangzhou City would let you get involved. It was only Wang Qian who asked curiously, young Master Qin's identity will have to be made public sooner or later, and the more subordinates he meets with, the more likely he will be exposed. What's the purpose and meaning of doing this? Qi Minghui smiled wisely after thinking it over, Mom, you don't understand this. Young Master, he is running against time, running against Chang Lao's time. The later he exposes his identity, the better for young Master, the easier it is for him to control the future corporate empire that is Huanyu. Chi Miao Miao schemed her lips and said, "What the hell, I don't understand it at all." If Qin Ming had been there, he would have spat out, "You guys are too brainy, you're really overthinking this." He was really just upset with Nai Zhengming, and was simply pressing him so that his brother-in-law would be more restrained and stopping him from being with Nai Haitang in the future. Inside the Cloud Peak Villa, Song Ying sent the 5 members of the Qi family away and she came to Qin Ming's side. She looked at Qin Ming rubbing his forehead with some difficulty, and heartily brought him a tray of hot water and gently wiped his face. Song Ying said gently, "Young master, let me give you a massage." Qin Ming said, "Good, Song Ying, your massage gestures are really a masterpiece. Last time I was drunk it was thanks to you rubbing me that I got comfortable." Song Ying said, "Young master should drink less wine, it is because master drank too much that his health deteriorated." Qin Ming smiled awkwardly, he didn't drink much before, but it was different now, he said, "As much wine as you can drink, you can make as many friends as you want. They are all very important people and I can't lose them now that the big picture is not settled." Qin Ming leaned back comfortably, his head resting on Song Ying's breast. He could feel the soft elasticity again, but Song Ying's slender hands, gently soothing the acupuncture points, were too comfortable for him to leave. The last time he was drunk he fell asleep on Nai Haitang's lap, but this time he fell asleep on Song Ying's chest. In the middle of the night, Qin Ming woke up and found that he was already sleeping in his bed. He didn't have the hangover headache at all anymore, or Song Ying's massage technique was great and made him very comfortable. He got up to look for water, but saw that the light was still on in the study. Qin Ming walked over to the other end of the long round table, where Song Ying had 3 computer screens flashing in front of her and a pile of official documents in front of her. She herself was so tired that she had fallen asleep on the desk. Qin Ming could not help but feel sorry for this woman, as many businesses and tasks were currently being handed over, and the documents previously submitted to Chang Hongzi might be handed over to Qin Ming, who was a hands-off person, while Song Ying was having a hard time. Qin Ming said to himself, "It seems that I can't trouble Ying too much in the future." After getting along for a long time, Qin Ming could see how hard Song Ying worked and how loyal she was to him, as if she treated Qin Ming's affairs as her own responsibility, so Qin Ming also changed the way he addressed Song Ying. Qin Ming looked at Song Ying, who was lying on the table asleep, very serene and sleeping in a lovely manner. He couldn't help but bend down to give Song Ying a princess hug and pick her up. Qin Ming sent Song Ying back to her room, then returned to the study himself, looking at a large pile of documents waiting to be signed and stamped. Most of them were approved by Chang Hongzi, advising Qin Ming on what to do. Qin Ming couldn't help but smile bitterly, he was too much of a loser to be a hands-off boss. Qin Ming, while reading, while guessing and studying the analysis of the instructions, such as why the European mobile phone market is no longer invested, and why the growth rate of the Indian market, how to break the traditional concept of India to open up the consumer market and so on. The more Qin Ming looked at it, the more he felt that Chang Hongzi was powerful, and at the same time he was hungry to absorb the knowledge. He was studying economics, so the research was quite smooth. The time passed unnoticed, and in the morning Qin Ming yawned and asked Along to take him back to school. Chapter 106. Qin Ming, what have you been up to lately? I don't see you all the time. I've got your books, come to classroom 501, it's Lao Xiao's class. Qin Ming had just returned to school when he received a message from his dormitory brothers urging him to hurry up and come to his introduction to economics class. He was also depressed that Lao Xiao, like He Chiu in the higher mathematics class, was a snob and resented the poor and rich, and especially hated poor students like Qin Ming because he hadn't sent gifts for Teacher's Day and Lao Xiao's birthday. In fact, Qin Ming had sent a gift at first, a fountain pen of more than $50, which Qin Ming thought was very expensive, but it turned out that the cheapest among old Xiao's gifts was Qin Ming's fountain pen. Zhao Fugui led the ridicule of Qin Ming at that time, causing him to lose face. Although Qin Ming was in a hurry to get back, he was still late. Qin Ming stood at the door and shouted a report, but saw that only half of the people in the classroom had come. Qin Ming's heart was together, better late than never. Old Xiao's economics class was very dull, many people couldn't listen to it and came to doze off, so it was a great honor for Qin Ming to arrive. He had a gloomy look on his face, so he was in a bad mood today. Old Xiao deliberately left Qin Ming hanging for 10 minutes before he glanced at him indifferently and said indifferently, "Go in." Qin Ming came to where his brothers were, but it was to see the big beauty in the class, Zhang Xiaoyan, crying and sobbing, her eyes red. Qin Ming asked, "Who bullied the class flower?" "Old Xiao." Zhao Linia shook his head, "No, Xiaoyan, she's lost her money." Qin Ming let out a sigh and asked, "Isn't she doing a great job with the live broadcast?" "Not bad for money, right?" Liang Xiaoyang smiled helplessly and said, "She took the money out yesterday and put it in a big suitcase, seemingly intending to make a donation, as if Guang City was holding a Huai night charity party and she went to make a donation. However, yesterday wasn't someone making a row at the school to pursue the civilian schoolgirl, there were many people, she pulled the suitcase to get together, and as a result, the suitcase disappeared, the money was gone." The corner of Qin Ming's mouth twitched, could it be that he had caused a commotion yesterday, causing Zhang Xiaoyan to lose that money? He also didn't expect that Zhang Xiaoyan was so caring, having made money from live streaming, she actually went to donate, and now that the money was lost, she was probably very sad. Suddenly, old Xiao loudly rebuked, "Qin Ming, Liang Xiaoyang, what are you muttering about? Did you come to class just to chat? What do you think my classroom is? You can leave if you don't want to come. The last time you were late for class, Mr. He of the higher mathematics class also complained about you, ignoring your teachers and being late for class every time. You'll get a 10-point deduction for introduction to economics this term." "What?" Qin Ming was a black question mark, he was only late once, those who are always absent from class, you do not know how to scold me? And deduct 10 points? It was too hateful. However, the other party was a teacher, so Qin Ming could only bristle and attend class honestly. "Teacher, this is where you're wrong." Zhao Fugui suddenly said in a loud voice, "Qin Ming has to work part-time, and working part-time is important. Look at him, he reeks of alcohol and is in poor spirits, he must have been at a party yesterday." Yang Wei gloated, "Oh, he doesn't know which bar he's going to be a waiter in again." Zhao Fugui teased, "Yang Wei, you are wrong, Qin Ming is now very powerful. He knows some rich big bosses who speculate in stocks and goes to fawn over them every day. To be honest, there is nothing you can teach him, teacher. He goes to drink with the big bosses and doesn't return to the dormitory. If it wasn't for the people in the dormitory urging him, he probably wouldn't even come to class. This is a really murderous thing to say." He hated missing class the most, so when Qin Ming was late, he didn't get angry. But Zhao Fugui's words were clearly saying that Qin Ming despised Lao Xiao, and Lao Xiao's self-esteem had been severely scraped. Old Xiao sneered and said, "Is that so? Qin Ming, it turns out that you already know all about it? Then what are you doing in my class? Just go straight to the exam. The teacher can just give you full marks straight away." Qin Ming rolled his eyes, "Attendance counted for points too, okay. Get out." Old Xiao directly and nonchalantly blasted Qin Ming away. Qin Ming was directly confused and said, "Teacher, I don't know any big boss, what Zhao Fugui said cannot be trusted." Zhao Fugui sneered, "You are full of alcohol and you didn't go back to the dormitory yesterday, so what are you doing there? You and Li Meng have broken up, so you can't go to a small hotel. Is it hard to be a duck?" "Oh." Several students who were with Zhao Fugui laughed. Old Xiao slapped the table and said, "Listen, look, How well the classmates know you. Qin Ming, you're a poor student, you don't study hard, you think about work all day, and you worship gold, climbing on big bosses and accompanying drinks. How disgraceful you are to university students. You are a disgrace to the university. I am really ashamed to have a student like you. Coming to my class, covered in filth, do you have the slightest respect for me? Qin Ming was angry at being scolded. He didn't change into clean clothes because he was drunk with Qi Yundong yesterday, and when he woke up, he was busy with his office, so he slept for an hour in the morning and rushed to class, and he was annoyed at being misunderstood like this. Old Xiao scolded again. People are really poor, study hard and find a good job in the future is the way out. After going to university and not studying hard, go to work every day, really no talent, get out. What's wrong with this old Xiao today? Qin Ming was scolded so much that he was red in the face, and there was no point in staying when he was asked to go out. Suddenly, Zhang Xiaoyan popped up. But teacher, Qin Ming is the best student in the class. When old Xiao heard a student refute him, he was even more furious and said angrily, Zhang Xiaoyan, are your grades that good? Why don't you go to the art school next door if you're always thinking about live streaming? Come to class crying and wailing in the morning, are you crying and mourning? Old Xiao was afraid that his wife and son had all run away, so he was so angry early in the morning. Qin Ming couldn't stand it anymore. He got up and said, Teacher Xiao, you're too much, Xiao Yan didn't do anything wrong. Who are you to scold her? Although I was late, I studied late yesterday before I was late, it wasn't what Zhao Fugui said, I'm an ordinary person, how can I know any big boss? What makes you believe only his words and not mine? Old Xiao said disdainfully, you are a poor boy, what is it if you are not going to work already? Every year, your tuition fee is delayed for 3 or 2 months, did Zhao Fugui's classmate say something wrong? You obviously have a problem, but you still refuse to admit it and blame your classmates. I have seen a lot of poor people, but I have never seen such a shameless one. How dare you refute that? You don't have to take Introduction to Economics this semester, you'll fail it even if you do. I said so. He. Zhao Fugui and the others were covering their mouths and laughing evilly. He was in a great mood when his treacherous plan worked. Old Xiao said to this point, the others also dare not touch the bad luck. Zhang Xiaoyan also all buried his head, did not dare to say a word more. Old Xiao roared, still not getting out? Do you want me to kick you out myself? Go wash dishes in the restaurant properly and do your very promising job. Qin Ming was so angry that he picked up his book and left. But just as he reached the door, he ran into the headmaster, an elegant lady in her 50s. Qin Ming hurriedly held the headmaster Liao Qing and apologized, sorry, headmaster, I didn't see it was you. Liao Qing frowned and said, student, this is a class, what are you doing there? Inside, old Xiao said disdainfully, he said he didn't like my class and went to work. Ha 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 ha. There was a burst of laughter from a few people in the class. Zhao Fugui coaxed, Principal, Qin Ming's family is poor, so if he doesn't work part-time, he won't have money to eat. To him, working part-time is more important than attending classes. Yang Wei also said, that's right, he smells of alcohol, he was working last night and he's going back today. He's an active worker. Ma Fei echoed, poor bastards don't need to study, they should just finish their compulsory education and go to the construction site to move bricks. A poor bastard will remain a poor bastard for the rest of his life. The headmaster doesn't need to care about him, this kind of person is irredeemable. As Liao Qing listened to these people's comments about Qin Ming, his brow furrowed slightly and the way he looked at Qin Ming changed. Qin Ming said bitterly, Headmaster, listen to my explanation. Chapter 107. Liao Qing chided, you stink of alcohol early in the morning, what's there to explain? You don't even go to class and you're going to work part-time. You're putting the cart before the horse. Stand in front of the door for me and stand still. Although Liao Qing was an old woman in her 50s, she had been the headmistress for a long time, her aura was still there, and a command drank Qin Ming out of his mind. She beckoned towards old Xiao, signaling him to come out, who immediately lost his temper and came over with a smile, even bending slightly and bowing in a gesture of listening to the arrogant admonition. Liao Qing said, "Mr. Xiao, the school has already given an evaluation of your appointment as an associate professor, and I have personally added an recommendation letter, so you should prepare for the evaluation. It should not be a big problem." Old Xiao's expression was overjoyed as he took the information and said, "Thank you, Mr. Liao, it's hard for you to come here, just give me a shout, I'll go to your office." Qin Ming looked at old Xiao with the high spirits, but in fact, he had some sarcasm in his heart. He was only an associate professor at his age, he still had to rely on human relations. How miserable old Xiao was. Old Xiao looked at Qin Ming again and reprimanded, "What are you still doing? Go back to class now." Qin Ming relied on him instead and said, "Teacher Xiao, you're the one who kicked me out." "You?" Old Xiao's expression paled slightly, but he didn't want to bother with Qin Ming, saying, "You're late and you're justified. Do you want Teacher Liao to take you back for a proper education?" Qin Ming smiled treacherously, "I'd like to. At least Principal Liao won't dislike me for being a poor student, or forbid me from attending classes, or hate me for giving bad gifts, or say that not only do I not have to attend classes, but I don't have to take exams either, because you just won't give me a pass." Liao Qing froze, listening to Qin Ming's words, which were clearly tinged with strong personal emotions, and she asked, "What's going on?" Old Xiao hurriedly said, "Teacher Liao, don't listen to this kid's nonsense, he was late to class and spouted off that he knew everything and didn't need to study, that's why I made him come out and punish him." Qin Ming refuted, turning black and white upside down, "It's obvious that I was blown away and said 3 times that I wasn't worthy of your class, so how is that a punishment? Teacher Xiao, I've always paid attention to your class, and I even prepped yesterday." Qin Ming was no easy bully and took a round of dislike at every opportunity. Liao Qing looked at the two of them one at a time and suddenly had an idea. She went to the podium and looked at the multimedia that old Xiao was showing about the basic elements of economic evaluation. Liao Qing said to Qin Ming, "You said you were very hard-working, so tell us about the basic elements of economical evaluation." Qin Ming was struck by the fact that this was really what he had read yesterday. He said, "The profitability of funds, interest rates and opportunity costs, economic costs, sunk costs, etc. As the solution decision is the conceptual costs incurred are very important to the decision." To give a practical example, a company owns a multi-use machine tool. If it is rented out it gains $7,000 a year. Qin Ming was responding to Liao Qing's questions in the classroom in an endless stream, and old Xiao on the side was confused because Qin Ming's examples were very mature and excellent, not from his textbook, but from Qin Ming's personal ideas that he had researched on his own by reading the documents sent over by Chang Lao yesterday. In addition to what was in the textbook, Qin Ming combined it with practical applications and clearly had a very clear understanding of this knowledge. The students on the stage were dumbfounded, half of them could not understand. While Qin Ming was talking, he also wrote on the blackboard various formulas for calculating sales profit, as well as externalities and market efficiency and Cose's theorem. After talking for 20 minutes, Qin Ming felt that his mouth was getting dry. Headmaster Liao Qing was very appreciative after listening and said, "Student, what is your name?" Qin Ming responded, "Principal, my name is Qin Ming." Liao Qing was surprised, "Oh, the Qin Ming who gets the scholarship every year, right?" Qin Ming nodded his head in a youthful manner. Liao Qing patted Qin Ming's shoulder and said, "Although you work part-time to survive, you haven't forgotten that studying is the focus, that's good. Come to my office after school at noon. When Qin Ming heard this, his heart thumped and he secretly said, "Oh no, does the headmaster have his eye on him?" When Lao Xiao heard this, his heart thumped and he secretly said, "It's over, does the headmaster trust Qin Ming?" Liao Qing walked up and took back the evaluation information and recommendation letter he had just received. Old Xiao wanted to grab it back, it was his associate professor title. But when Liao Qing's face was cold, Lao Xiao was too scared to move, regretting in his heart, why did he fix this Qin Ming at such a time? He is poor? The actual goblet is a very good way to get the most out of your life. The company's main business is to provide a wide range of products and services to the public. The first thing you need to do is to get a good idea of what you are doing. The first thing you need to do is to get a good idea of what you are getting into. How come there are only half that number? It's not like they've all been kicked out, right? Old Xiao hurriedly explained, well, it's none of my business, they missed class. Liao Qing hummed, don't push the problems and responsibilities onto your students, look more from yourself, how you want to teach, how you want to manage your students, and how you want to attract them are all reflections of every teacher's ability. About your accreditation as an associate professor, you have to work harder. Old Xiao really thought of heaven and hell, just now he was happy because he was happy to get the title of associate professor, and the next second he was screwed by Qin Ming. Qin Ming sat back comfortably as several friends around him gave him an admiring thumbs up. Old Xiao looked at Qin Ming with a real itch in his teeth, he wanted to tear Qin Ming apart, this man was so hateful, poor and smelly rotten rock, he wanted to drive away but couldn't, he wanted to clean up but was cleaned up instead, he was so angry that his face was openly red. Old Xiao hurriedly finished his lesson and the group dispersed. Qin Ming saw Zhang Xiaoyan in a depressed mood, so he walked over and said, Xiaoyan, I heard that you lost the money for the donation? How much was lost? 500,000. Zhang Xiaoyan held her head in chagrin, some of it was also a call for fan rewards, I thought of donating money live so that I could attract internet fans and create a persona of being able to sing and dance well and having a caring heart, but it turned out that people and money were empty. The corners of Qin Ming's mouth twitched, you're not going to ban the acting industry? Make it so professional. Zhang Xiaoyan held her head and said in distress, what should I do? If I say I lost 500,000, the netizens won't believe me, and they have rewarded me quite a lot, they will think I cheated them. Then there's no way I can do live streaming in the future. The people next to her seemed to have been comforted by the fact that facing $500,000 was a huge amount of money for anyone. Wang Mizia, who was in the same class, was not happy, what are you getting together for, Qin Ming? Still think Xiaoyan is not miserable enough? You should hurry up and go work. You can't help Xiaoyan with this. Another boy also said, Qin Ming, what's the use of talking about it? Substantial help is the best thing for Xiaoyan. Zhang Xiaoyan said feebly, thank you Qin Ming, but you can't help me with my affairs. Zhao Fugui came over with a smile and said, 500,000 isn't much, I've spent over 100,000 this month alone. How about this Xiaoyan, be my girlfriend, I'll get you a ticket to the Huai Night Charity Gala, you'll get in, won't you have an explanation with your fans? Qin Ming looked and said, Zhao Fugui, I think your girlfriend is called Xietao, right? Xietao? Who? Zhao Fugui said proudly, that's my ex-girlfriend, I broke up with her today. Yang Wei was also quite envious from the side, although his family was rich, it was nowhere near as much as Zhao Fugui's. He said, indeed, the problem can be solved if Brother Fugui steps in. After all, Brother Fugui is not a poor man like Qin Ming. Pan takes by killing. Wang Mizia said, Aya, Xiaoyan, Zhao Fugui is also infatuated with you and has been chasing you for 3 years now. Since he can help you get through this difficult time, what's the harm in saying yes to him? Qin Ming was a bit angry at this Wang Mizia, who, like Li Meng, was a gold-digging girl, but she didn't look very good herself, yet she was persuading Zhang Xiaoyan. Suddenly, Zhang Xiaoyan got up, looked at Zhao Fuegui with complicated eyes, and said, "Zhao Fuegui, you come with me for a moment." Qin Ming was taken aback. He wouldn't really say yes, would he? He pulled Zhang Xiaoyan and said, "Xiaoyan, you have to think clearly." Zhang Xiaoyan pushed Qin Ming's hand away and looked sad. "Qin Ming, thank you for your concern. But you don't have money, you can't help me. Leave me alone, useless concern will only make me more and more annoyed." Zhao Fuegui was overjoyed and proudly raised his eyebrows at Qin Ming and followed Zhang Xiaoyan out behind him. Chapter 108. Zhang Xiaoyan left, leaving her graceful figure behind. Zhang Xiaoyan is quite pretty, with huge breasts, white skin, and a sweet voice, some soft and whispery, and a nice person, 2 golden flowers in the class with Li Meng, and a good relationship with Qin Ming. The key is to have a sense of justice. The previous time Qin Ming was dumped by Li Meng, in order to clear his cheating, all kinds of stink about Qin Ming, the girls in the class also only Zhang Xiaoyan dare to voice for Qin Ming. "I didn't expect such a good person to suffer such a thing, really God is not fair." Sun Zhepeng patted Qin Ming's shoulder and said, "Don't look, people have gone far away. 500,000 is not something we can suddenly take out, and we wouldn't give it away if we could." Zhao Liniu said, "Actually, all that money is bounty and live streaming platforms share, it belongs to Xiaoyan herself, she won't be responsible for losing it. That is, many fans responded to her call for donations and rewarded the money. If Xiaoyan didn't go for donations, it would be the same as cheating money. Then there would be no need to do live streaming in the future." Qin Ming listened with a pang of regret. Zhang Xiaoyan's live streaming career had just gotten going and then sunk. "Yo! Qin Ming, you're eating nest eggs again." Yang Wei and Ma Fei were still on the sidelines, scoffing. "You think everyone is that stupidly Meng? A pussy? 3 words or 2 by you poor. The actual fact is that you'll be able to get a lot more than just a few of these. The most important thing is that you have to be able to do it. The most important thing is that you have to be able to get the best out of it. The actual fact is that you will be able to get a lot more than just a few of these. The actual fact is that you will be able to get a lot more than just a few of these. The actual fact is that you will be able to get a lot more than just a few of these. The rich and the rich like Brother Fuegui and Brother Yang Wei are the ones who are the bosses after graduation." Yang Wei proudly fished out 10,000 yuan from his pocket and said, "Yesterday my family wired me another 10,000 yuan for pocket money. Tisk. 3,005. How long does it take to save enough for 500,000 without eating or drinking? Great talent, do the math for us." Ha 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 ha. The people around him laughed out loud, disdainful of Qin Ming's kindness. "You obviously don't have the ability, but you still pretend to be kind and go help Zhang Xiaoyan? You are trying to become Zhang Xiaoyan is in a low mood and take advantage of Xiaoyan, right? Poor Panjun? Round up you caustic alpha. De Caizi has never heard of overrate shaking a tree and mantis? Look at the part-time job you're doing, how much money can you earn?" As the students jeered and dispersed, Zhao Liniu pulled Qin Ming and said, "Forget it, Xiao Ming, don't be ordinary with these people. What happened to Zhang Xiaoyan was also her own doing, we can't help her." Qin Ming sighed. Zhang Xiaoyan was such a nice girl, but she had to be spoiled by Zhao Fuegui. He was really angry. He immediately followed Zhao Fuegui and Zhang Xiaoyan over to the English corner of the campus, where they arrived. Zhang Xiaoyan had her head down, her eyes were red and swollen from crying, and Zhao Fuegui was smug and arrogant. Zhao Fuegui said, "Zhang Xiaoyan, how about it? I'll have tickets to the Huai Night Charity Gala, my dad got them, and if you go in as my girlfriend, you'll be able to prove to the netizens that you got the tickets with your donations, then you won't have to be afraid of being called out for cheating on your money. Jang Xiaoyan bit her lips and asked, "Do I have to sleep with you tonight?" Zhao Fugui said, "Of course my girlfriend has to sleep with me, how normal is that? What boyfriend and girlfriend don't sleep together? Xiaoyan, apart from me, who else can help you? You're not really expecting that punk Qin to help you, are you?" "Ha ha ha ha, he's recently become a bully and knows some rich bigwigs, so he thinks he's great, but asking him to take out money, can he do it?" Zhang Xiaoyan's face was pale and her voice was soft and sticky as she said, "I'll think about it again. I'll answer you tonight." Zhao Fugui rubbed his hands together excitedly and said, "Okay, call me when you've figured it out." "Xiaoyan, just don't worry, we've been classmates for 3 years, I've always liked you, and all the other so-called girlfriends are just your substitutes. As long as I have you, I will collect my heart and soul and treat you with single-mindedness, I won't mess around." Zhang Xiaoyan was actually going to promise Zhao Fugui, and Qin felt a pang of hard feelings in his heart. Qin would definitely not let this happen and he chased after her all the way to the girls' dormitory. However, at this time, the girls' dormitory was crowded, and the appearance of a smelly man who reeked of alcohol among all the young and beautiful girls immediately made the surrounding girls' disgusted face. Qin just walked to the door of the dormitory, a girl suddenly shouted, "Wow, Ling Ling, that Qin?" Pan Pit throws together the service hours. Qin heard someone shouting at him and looked at the sound, but it was Chen Mulan and a few other girls. One of the girls next to him said, "TCH, it's the stinker again? Pan Jun? Div Field for Maturity Scar?" The company's main focus is on the development of a new product. The molasses a strontium fresh degree ship shoulder word salt ye embedded quarter hustle play. The first thing you need to do is to ask for a new one. The actual whoosh of the world. Chen Mulan said, "It's not all his fault, he's a poor boy, just cleaning for the owner of that big yacht. It's not bad to take a few people with you." Qin simply ignored it and tried to cross over in front of them, he was looking for Zhang Xiaoyan. A few girls chattered on and on, Hey, what's your attitude? You actually pretend to ignore our Ling Ling's existence. Do you think this is a boys' dormitory? Aya, Xiaoli, you don't understand this. I've read some pickup pamphlets on the internet, saying that men attract women by showing off their money if they're rich, relying on charm if they're handsome, and showing off their special skills if they have them. Poor. Pan is afraid of the wilderness caustic claiming that the work scar? The coffin stake ning fold k, tou pay ferocious first haunt? No. Eris. No. The system of the haggard collapse disease. Wow, so heartfelt. Tisk. Scum not to mention, also heart. Didn't that Bai-Yu-chan get rescued yesterday? He probably also looked at it as hopeless, so he thought of our Ling Ling, casting a wide net, catching more fish, isn't that this scum's way? Yeso, there in front of the hospital, he is still acting bitter. Humph, slag man. Qin blackened his face and said, "Students, have you scolded enough? Please move aside." That Xiaoli took a step forward with her chest outstretched and said, "We haven't scolded enough, who told you to show your presence by catching us on Ling Ling's way all day long? How can you dare to court our Ling Ling with your poor face? Get out of the way. The girls' dormitory is just ahead, what are you doing in the girls' dormitory as a man? What are you doing in the girls' dormitory?" The girls seemed to be particularly sensitive to peeping, and when they heard this word, they all took 3 steps back with their hands clasped. Chen Mulan had been very upset with Qin since she had been little tricked by him once in the yacht last time, and always wanted to cure him. She suddenly cried out loudly, "Oh! Qin, you bad egg, you actually spied on me, our girls' dormitory bathing, are you still human? Poof, Qin Ming seemed to be hit by a hammer on his chest. What did this Chen Mulan want? Chen Mulan's dainty look and sobbing made the girls around her explode. What did this kid want? Beat him to death. Beat him to death, this peeping Tom. Qin Ming explained, misunderstanding, you guys are misunderstanding. She set me up. But the sensitive girls, who would not listen to Qin Ming, gathered over one by one and pulled after him, wanting to arrest him and send him to the school director's office for investigation. Behind the crowd Chen Mulan laughed mischievously, and twisted her body towards Qin Ming in triumph, playfully spitting her tongue out in triumph, saying, now you won't be cured? You'll have a good time, huh, you poor? You're a poor man? You're a poor man? The coffin White Tartar Royal Cha and Easy Samarium Cup residents who on fresh file and erect forgiveness. The actual fact that Qin Ming is after all a man, surrounded by heavy girls, they are also all kinds of being Qin Ming mooching, inevitably produced a physiological reaction. When Qin Ming rushed out of the encirclement, the hand somehow more than a packet of sanitary napkins and a lady's underwear, so scared he hurriedly threw away. After such a tussle by Chen Mulan, Qin Ming could not go near the girls' dormitory. He could only turn on the webcast to see if Zhang Xiaoyan was there. When his phone opened Zhang Xiaoyan's live stream, Qin Ming was surprised. She's really here. TCH, it's impossible to watch this live stream. Chapter 109. Zhang Xiaoyan's live stream, the title changed to apologize to the majority of fans. Her eyes were red and swollen, and she was in an extremely bad mood. Wow, Princess Yian is live streaming so early this morning? I'm at work and when I hear Princess Yian's voice, I'm motivated 100 times. TCH, who bullied our cute little Yian? I can't believe she's crying, but she's still cute. The title of this live stream, what's going on? Did the donation fail? For our lovely Princess Xiaoyan, I donated 500 yuan, so I'll have to eat instant noodles again this month. 500 is nothing, I rewarded a rocket, master just for Xiaoyan. Baby, who's bullying you? Tell hubby. The self-proclaimed husband in front draws his sword. Many netizens in the live broadcast room were watering down their comments, and everyone was curious as to what the title of this live broadcast meant today. It can't be telling us that the money for the donation got lost, right? How could it be? Princess Yian wouldn't be so underhanded. Who knows, why else would she apologize? Wasn't the donation live today? Oh, the rhythm of pretending to be a failure? Then it's time for us black fans to work. Today we agreed to go to the charity fund to donate Apologize for Life Black. The rhythm of the live broadcast room also gradually rose, most notably because Zhang Xiaoyan did not say a word, intensifying the viewers' suspicions. Qin Ming didn't know what Zhang Xiaoyan was thinking. Did she look like she was planning to apologize and admit her mistake? But then she said that she would let Zhao Fugui wait for a reply. At this moment the students in the class group were all relatively quiet and seemed to know about it. 500,000 was not something they ordinary students could take out, so let's not intervene and let Zhang Xiaoyan carry it on her own. Anyway, it's all gifts from fans and platform sharing. It's not illegal to run out of money, it's just that the reputation is notorious. Qin Ming felt that this was bad. We are all classmates, we should work together to come up with ideas to tide over the difficulties, but everyone's indifferent attitude made him very powerless. The capable Zhao Fugui even blackmails Zhang Xiaoyan into getting a room with this incident, which is even more odious. In the class group, Li Meng, who had been suspended from school, suddenly spoke up, "What's wrong? What seems to have happened to Zhang Xiaoyan?" Qin Ming was angry at the sight of her. Not only did she coax his sister to be silly, but she almost stole the money from his bank card. Ma Fei said in the class group, Xiaoyan got 500,000 stolen, that's what she's earned from live streaming over the past few years, and the call for fans to reward her, intending to donate and get a ticket into the venue for the Huai Night L charity gala event. Li Meng sent a gloating emoji and said, "Oh, must be near Qin Ming more, bad luck after bad luck." Qin Ming's face darkened as he sent a bombshell in the class group, angrily saying, "Li Meng, what happened in front of the pharmacy over the weekend was forgotten so quickly." Li Meng directly ignored it and said, "Zhang Xiaoyan, you're scamming. Oh, you're privy to your own money and then selling a scam fan, circling money." In the class group, Zhang Xiaoyan immediately replied, "I didn't cheat." The three exclamation marks were resounding, declaring Zhang Xiaoyan's inner agitation and anger. But Li Meng didn't say anything more. Instead she ran inside Zhang Xiaoyan's live stream and brought up the tempo, "I'm Zhang Xiaoyan's classmate, she cheated. She faked a donation to Huai Night's Blue Sky Charity Foundation to trick everyone's sympathy, but in reality, she swallowed all the money herself. You her classmate? I'm still her husband, bullshit you, our Xiaoyan is not like that. Look, I told you the money was gone for no reason. $500,000, that's a lot of money our fans have contributed over the years. You act like you're passionate about charity in person, but you don't donate afterwards, liar. Take down, unsubscribe, and block unscrupulous anchors. Mr. Horing is the conscience of the anchor world. Pippi Hope Primary School is all built up. Wow, so easy to become the platform of the midstream live, make your own death and cry what? Do you think crying our wise people will believe you? Webcasts don't have tears. Pay it back. Zhang Xiaoyan's live stream room with rhythm is getting more and more. Zhang Xiaoyan looks anxious and sad, covering her face, wiping her tears from time to time, not saying a word. The more she doesn't say anything, the more rhythm there is. In fact, Zhang Xiaoyan did not know what she should say. She was afraid that the more she described, the darker the internet comments would directly swallow her up. Qin Ming looked angry and disliked Li Meng in the class group, saying, "Li Meng, what are you mad about? You want to target your own classmates too? You know nothing about people making rumors here, it's too much." Li Meng replied quickly, "What did I do? I didn't do anything, you ask your sister." Qin Ming hummed, "Do your words have any credibility?" In the live broadcast room, the tirade had gradually drowned out all the pop-ups, and even viewers who were not fans came to join in the fun. All sorts of words like cheater, anchor, trash, bitch, disgusting, unsubscribe, blocked, etc. filled the room, which made Zhang Xiaoyan completely lack the courage to speak, and her mind collapsed as she watched such pop-ups. Zhang Xiaoyan was in great pain inside. She could either choose to go to a room with the nasty Zhao Fugui in exchange for tickets, or idle fans to apologize and quit her favorite live streaming career from now on. Either way, she was desperate, and it just so happened that no one could save her. Suddenly, in the live stream, a gift-giving pop-up screen showed up. Not forensic Qin Ming gives the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket. A rocket was $2,000, not a tycoon wouldn't swipe it. The anchor's live stream could have 1 or 2 tycoons, it was enough to mix and mingle. Not forensic Dr. Qin Ming, the ID still hanging in the live broadcast room fan list first position of the. Zhang Xiaoyan raised her head, that budding face covered with tear marks. She looked at this pop-up screen in surprise. She was surprised. Why at this kind of time, this not forensic Dr. Qin Ming netizen, still willing to believe her? It was clear that she hadn't appeared since the last reward. Zhang Xiaoyan had thought that the tycoon had just happened to be playing around in the first place, but she hadn't expected her to show up again at the most difficult time. Thank you, Mr. Qin Ming, fire. Zhang Xiaoyan choked out her thanks, not even pronouncing her screen name fully because she was crying so hard, but this was pronounced correctly. Qin Ming would smile. Zhang Xiaoyan did not finish his words. The live broadcast room is another rocket rising. Not forensic Qin Ming gives the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket X50. As with the last bounty, another 100,000. Surprisingly, Zhang Xiaoyan's live broadcast room curses all the absolute stash. A piece of ellipsis went by. It seems that people do not understand what operations such as Tycoon. The first thing that happened was that he was not able to get the money he needed. He wanted to shut some people up. It would be so much easier if money could solve it up. Someone typed on the screen, saying, "Landlord, you've been cheated, this is a cheater anchor." Qin Ming then also typed on the screen, "Don't get carried away, everyone, Xiaoyan has been live for 3 years, old fans should have watched her step by step, we all know very well how she is as a person. It's not like she doesn't have donations, it's just that she encountered a bit of sadness today, and you're all speculating here." When Zhang Xiaoyan saw this, she smiled sadly inwardly. She thought that not Forensic Kinming, a Tycoon netizen, believed her and did not know that she had really lost the money. Zhang Xiaoyan sighed inwardly, "I'm afraid he'll hate me even if I have to tell the truth about what happened later, right?" Immediately after Qin Ming finished typing, he called Qi Yundong and asked, "Uncle Qi, is there a Huai Night L charity gala to be held in Guang City recently?" Chapter 110. Qi Yundong was slightly surprised and said, "Yes, young master, this is a charity gala called by the Blue Sky Charity Foundation for children suffering from leukemia, with Wei brothers and..." Qin Ming interrupted, "All right, I get it, I want to help a friend donate in my personal name, well, let's say 500,000. No problem." Qi Yundong said with a smile, "A mere 500,000, my subordinate will pay for the young master." Qin Ming did not want to owe a favor, human debts are too difficult to pay back, he insisted, "No, I will pay for it myself. By the way, the donation has an invitation ticket, right?" Qi Yundong said, "There are tickets for donations of 500,000 or more, but they are for the outer venue, you can't meet many celebrities and stars, they are all 3rd or 4th tier starlets and staff of young model brands, etc. You need a ticket to get into the inner venue to get in. I'll give the young master's friends tickets for the inner venue." Qin Ming gave a deadly order and said, "Yes, do it now, I want to immediately can to the donation page updated with this information. Send the tickets to my friend." Qi Yundong could hear the urgency in Qin Ming's words and immediately replied, "Young master, don't worry, 5 minutes, 5 minutes the web page will definitely be updated with the donation announcement requested by young master." Qin Ming hung up the phone and went back to the live broadcast room. Those who were bringing the rhythm were still there, with all kinds of unpleasant curses. Qin Ming just replied back in the live stream, "I will always believe in Zhang Xiaoyan, feel free to bring the rhythm, believe it or not, I will brush another 50 rockets. You blow, right you? The company behind the fraudulent anchor, right? Hype operation, right? Brushing 500 won't change the fact that she cheated us. Brother Qin Ming, there's still you guarding our Princess Yan, what a blessing. Liar anchor, block and roll." Not Forensic Dr. Qin Ming gave the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket X1. Not Forensic Dr. Qin Ming gave the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket X2. Not Forensic Dr. Qin Ming gave the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket X3. Not Forensic Dr. Qin Ming gave the lovely Xiaoyan a rocket X50. Another 100,000 gifts were rewarded, each rocket rewarded with a platform-wide advertisement push. Qin Ming had sent 100 rockets in a row, already attracting a huge amount of heat and traffic. The popularity of the live broadcast room had reached the highest on the platform. "I just arrived, can someone tell me what's going on? Go Princess Yan." A female anchor is wiping her tears live and earning millions a month. TCH, what's up with all these people shouting about blocking? Wow, childish boobs, hey, what a beautiful anchor. Zhang Xiaoyan was also confused. Suddenly she was rewarded with so much money, she thought to herself that this not Forensic Dr. Qin Ming was too Tycoon, right? In the world of the rich, it was true that money was not money, it was just a life pastime. With Qin Ming's 50 rockets of reward encouragement, Zhang Xiaoyan was in a much better mood. She figured out that the sun always shines after the storm. She couldn't agree to Zhao Fugui's request. She didn't want to cheat her fans, even if she was hated by them. She didn't want to. Zhang Xiaoyan took a deep breath and stabilized her emotions. She decided to apologize live. If she couldn't be forgiven, then she would start all over again. Even if it was negative, she couldn't let down her fans. Zhang Xiaoyan took out her phone and responded directly in the class group, Zhao Fugui, even if I lose my reputation, I won't promise you to be your girlfriend. Zhao Fugui, who was using his trumpet to bring rhythm to the live stream, sank his face and cursed out, Zhang Xiaoyan, give shame, you asked for it? Don't regret it? How are you going to get tickets without money? Zhang Xiaoyan was silent and withdrew from the class group. She took the microphone, cleared her throat and said, thank you to every fan who supported my Zhang Xiaoyan, especially the tycoon around ID not forensic Qin Ming. Hello, finally I see you again. Your presence at this time has given me courage and strength, thank you. I have something to tell you today. Last week, I saw an ad about the Blue Sky Foundation about focusing on children with leukemia and I decided to donate together in my name and the names of my fans, so I raised $500,000. It was supposed to be a live donation today. It's just that